Hello, everybody. Here we are,
Hey.
the writers group with Larry, John, Skinny, Danny, and Little Movie Perp.
Oh. Oh.
Hello.
How's it
All
going?
right, fantastic.
Huh.
We have some very exciting pages to go over. We still got some leftover Demonatrix from
Yeah.
last week, so I know we're looking forward to that. But let's. All right, so we got PED twice. I take it I'm supposed to do the second one. Movie Perp.
Yeah, let me see. Did I put it twice?
Yeah, because I see. Oh, well, okay. Sorry, they're separated by some time there.
Okay,
So
yeah.
okay, yeah. So
the other
just
one's from last week.
okay, got it.
That would do it.
Okay, all right. So let's see. Is there anything you wanna set up for us? Let me go.
Sure.
Share
I think the
screen.
last time we left off, just to give some context, I think
Script check.
Armando won and won his
okay.
his match that was being scouted by professionals, but he was busted for PEDs.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now after he had a sort of conversation with his coach.
Okay.
And we're going to be at the next morning with his wife and kids. So, Preston, would you like to read the action? If that's cool.
Sure.
Okay. And then whoever we had last time. Who was Armando last time?
That was me.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay. Well, I'm gonna have Danny. Is that okay? Armando.
Sure.
John, would you mind being Amy?
Sure.
Awesome, and then we'll move along from there. I'll call it as I see him.
All right. Armando watches Amy leave Felix with his teacher, like all the other parents, before returning to Armando, who can't even look at his wife.
Does Felix know?
He doesn't understand. He wants me to take him to get your action figure already. He thinks there's one out already. Armando, I'm so sorry. I know that what this meant to you.
Yeah, I know I haven't been the best with you. I feel like it was karma catching up with me. I need to appreciate you both more.
Amy, about to respond, when a figure with a hoodie walks up to the married couple. It is Fan.
Skinny, would you mind being fan?
His
Yeah, sure.
disfigured face is more graphic. By the way, I just want to point out you got a whole slew of passives here. Amy is Fan. His disfigured face is more graphic. All right, so more graphic under the morning light. Amy instantly recognizes it.
Did you tell him his number is 42?
Yo, I'm having a private conversation with my wife. The fuck?
Armando, that's the guy from the restaurant I was telling you about.
I see that.
Armando turns up.
Are you following my wife?
She gave me good water.
Armando, having enough, pushes Fan. Fan ignores the aggression and walks towards them again. Some of the crowd begins to notice the altercation.
Honey, don't. Not here.
Eyes start following the scene. Fan begins to weep uncontrollably.
What's up with this guy?
He's not right. Leave him alone.
Armando cools down before seeing Fan's veins begin to pop out and pulsate in his neck. Armando begins to get concerned.
Yo, you cool, man?
Suddenly, Fan attacks Armando like a rabid animal. Armando is able to defend, but it's clear that the Fan has had training. Amy screams for them to stop, as if they would. A crowd of children and parents gather to watch the brawl. Some take their children to safety.
Larry, you're the worried parent.
There are children here.
The fight is brutal. You got it. You're clubbing me with these passives. You got to stop it.
Yeah.
The fight is brutal as school security guards reach both men. Armando lets them take him down. Fan is able to knock them out. Armando ends up on top of Fan and does a vicious ground and pound like his last professional fight. There are no referees to stop him this time. Armando doesn't stop punching.
You're perfect. 42.
It's a hardcore Douglas Adams fan. All right. Police officers finally tackle Armando off the hysterical Fan and wrestle his hands behind his back. Through the scared children and parents, he locks eyes with a crying Felix. Cut to Interior Police Precinct jail cell later that day. Armando sits in a holding cell with drunks and delinquents. He looks pathetic. An officer approaches.
I'll be jail officer Armando Lopez. You made bail.
Was it my wife?
Don't know, don't care. They paid for you and the other guy. The one with the fucked up face.
Interior Police Precinct waiting area. Moments later, to Armando's surprise, he doesn't find Amy or Felix waiting for him. Back in the apartment, Armando enters his empty but haunted home. He's alone more than ever now. More of an alien.
Amy?
He goes straight through the bedroom and into Armando and Amy's apartment bathroom. Armando opens the medicine cabinet mirror. All of Amy's prescription pills are gone. She really is not planning on returning anytime soon. Armando and Amy's apartment. Continuous. Armando sits on the bed, defeated. He sees the check is still leaning on the family photo. Next to it, a note that reads,
I need some time to think about things. I'm taking Felix to my mother's until I can figure out what to do. I need some peace, and so do you.
It's when Armando was finally about to break down when a noise comes from the living room. Sounds like large furniture being moved. Armando investigates and lets himself hope that it's Amy. In the living room, Armando sees a lamp fell off the table. Shuddering, out of the corner of his eye, a shadow moves across the room. Armando jolts back when Fan fades out of darkness, more fucked up and disfigured than ever.
What are you doing here?
Armando approaches ready to attack when he sees Fan is holding a handgun. Fan walks over to the scared fighter and hands him an oddly designed metal business card. The only thing Armando can make out is the large embossed 42 inscribed on it.
You made it through the first cut.
He gives Armando a twisted smile and then turns gun around and puts the grip in Armando's hand while still holding onto the chamber. I think you mean barrel.
Barrel, yeah.
They'll treat you far better than they treated me.
You're sick. You should get help.
Fan makes strange noises. Armando can't tell if the deranged man is laughing or weeping.
I did. They gave me something that made all the pain and bad dreams go away. There are side effects, though.
In a split second, the Fan puts the gun to his forehead and pulls the chamber. I think you mean trigger. Mm-hmm. This causes Armando to accidentally barrel or pull the trigger. Okay, I'm trying to imagine how that would go, but all right. Brain and blood coming from Fan's skull splatter all over the wall, and Armando, who is frozen scared. The shock wears off Armando, and sheer panic trickles in. Armando can hear the muffled sounds of voices. His neighbors are discussing the gunshot. Armando thinks he hears one of them say, "Police." Cut to the kitchen. Seconds later, Armando washes the blood from his face. And the bedroom, Armando is changing from his bloody clothes and just somewhere in the apartment. He does a quick scan of the apartment before going for the door. When the kitchen phone rings, the caller ID says Amy's cell. Armando hesitates for a beat before exiting to the hallway, where Armando closes the door behind him. He sees the old lady from the laundromat. She stops from taking her groceries inside her home and stares at the soon-to-be fugitive, scared.
I agree.
Training gym later that night. Armando is on Lee's computer looking through a search engine using Darlington as the keywords. There are too many hits to go through. A frustrated Armando has nothing to go on. He takes out the metal card given to him by Fan and carefully examines it. As he sees the large 42 is a row of numbers on the corner that are a lighter shade of black. Hard to spot if you aren't looking carefully. He types the numbers next to Darlington into the search engine. The screen goes black. The screen whizzes on and numbers and the symbols scan across.
What the?
A map appears of the city and there's a black dot in the outskirts. Coordinates to this location are at the bottom of the right of the page. The heating fan, but I feel, all right, writer's job would be, I think, to put what those coordinates, I think, should be. But, yeah. The heating fan in the computer starts to spin faster, making the computer hum louder and louder. Armando quickly jots the coordinates down before the screen glitches and the site disappears, reverting everything back to normal. Back on the search engine page. Armando types the coordinates in. The search engine pulls up a 1950s motel called the Darlington Resort, an Art Deco-style two-story hotel with lush forest surrounding it. All the pictures are black and white from a long time ago. Training gym moments later. As Armando exits, he sees several police vehicles come down the street and towards the gym. He runs back inside. Interior training gym continues. Armando locks up the doors and brings down the metal shutters to stall the impending police. He returns to Lee's computer and clears its history before ripping it from its cables and slams it on the floor. The office phone rings. Armando cautiously picks it up. He waits for whoever it is on the other line to speak first.
Okay, and who hasn't been picked yet? I don't think there's any more Amy, so who's Amy? John, right?
Yeah, that was me. I can do it.
Sure, thank you.
Hey, kid.
Lee, you're outside?
Yeah.
I didn't kill anyone. He's trying to frame me.
Doesn't matter. You need to come outside peacefully for Amy, for Felix.
There's still sympathy in Lee's voice. Armando's eyes begin to water.
They're giving you 10 minutes to surrender, and then they're going in. Please, kid. Whatever happened can be fixed.
I can't. Something's going on. Someone is fucking with my life.
You did it to yourself, kid.
Please, I'm not a monster.
It's time to prove it.
MMA training gym. Moments later, Armando comes out with his hands in the air.
I'll be police officer on your fucking knees.
Armando obliges and gets to his knees.
Any weapons?
No.
The police cautiously approaches. Officer 1 has his gun to Armando's head, and Officer 2 holsters his weapon, gets behind Armando, and searches his pockets. Officer 2 takes out his handcuffs and grabs Armando, ready to subdue him. Right as he is about to be cuffed, Armando spins the officer behind him and uses him as a shield while having him on a chokehold. I think I would say in a chokehold. Hysteria. Police yell all types of orders while Armando backs towards the alley continuous. Armando sees the opportunity. He lets go of the officers and pushes him away. Armando runs down the alley. The officers chase. Armando's cardio isn't as bad as Lee pointed out earlier. He is able to keep a steady but fast-paced. Knocking down anything around him, he can create an obstacle for his pursuers. With enough distance now between him and the cops, Armando sees a drainage pipe he is able to climb. Armando isn't just a fighter, but also an incredible athlete. He jumps from roof to roof. The police have trouble following. Armando is able to evade. Back in the streets, he finds a pile of garbage rubble where he tucks himself in, out of sight. Sirens and red and blue lights approach. They zip past him. He's safe for now. Cut to the Darlington Hotel. In the morning, the sun breaks through a beaten sign of the Darlington Motel. It appears abandoned and decrepit and barely standing. The paint is beyond faded and peeled. Armando is carefully studying it, as if expecting the motel to reveal something to him. He has a look of fear, yet determination. He enters. In the lobby, the interior is more run down than the outside. Large windows surrounding the lobby area, long shattered, letting nature make its slow creep inside. Most of the furniture has been thrown and piled all around the main area. A large faded mural on one of the walls paints a picture long forgotten. The foundation under it is certainly compromised at this point, yet this place hasn't caved in on itself is a miracle. Armando makes his way to where the rooms are located. In the hallway, all rooms have newly designed locks on them, in contradiction to the rusted state that permeates throughout. The door numbers can barely be made out, some even removed. He tries to open one of the doors, but it's locked. They all are. Suddenly, the door handle he had tried to use rattles violently. Someone's on the other side of the door, trying to open it as well.
I'll do terrified man, male's voice. Is someone out there? Please help.
What's going on?
This is following by other voices and more doors shaking. The motel is actually full, and the occupants are shouting mixes of pleas for help and violent threats.
Back up. I'm breaking the door down.
Armando gives a few well-placed kicks, but the doors are tougher than they appear. They won't break open. Armando looks around to see if there are any objects or tools he can use to pry the door open. There's nothing stronger than his hands or feet.
I'm going to see if I can find something to break you free.
Armando makes it a few steps before stopping in front of a particular door. A faded 42 stares back at him. He takes out the key, reminds himself of the 42 engraved on it. Armando slides the key into the key lock. A beep before a light turns green. Door is now unlocked. Unlocked. Armando carefully opens the door. Interior, room 42. An unoccupied dark room. The only thing illuminated inside on the other side is a still functioning television set. He inches forward and notices the TV is broadcasting several camera angles within the motel. One of these angles is the exterior pool. Deck in the center of the compound, surrounded by balconies like a modern coliseum. Covering the pool is a wooden deck built on top of it. Armando's attention is pulled to a strange figure on camera. He's not alone. Room 42's door slams shut and locks. Armando tries to open it, but it won't budge. He is trapped. He searches other parts of his room, but finds nothing but old gym equipment. The televisions turn off without warning. Black. Armando can't see anything. A striking red light seeps through the crack of the door and is accompanied by a loud siren. He pulls up to the door and can hear running and screaming coming through the hallway. Someone is out of their room and making a break for it. Just as the red light and siren came, it goes. All right. So, well, I was entertained. I hope somebody else was.
I have a question.
I was entertained.
There you go.
I was confused by the page numbering because it said 1 through 10. Is this picking up where we left off last week?
Yes.
Yes, correct.
So it's 21 through 30.
I believe so. Yeah, I just I copied because I was going to do some of the rewrites with the notes.
Okay.
Some of you had last time, and I put it in a separate page just for this, just the first.
Right, but I wanted to make sure that
John's
none of those...
concern is that the story actions are appropriate for the pages on which they would fall.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, I want
I
to know
see. That's
should I
true.
look at this as a page 1 rewrite, or is this page 21 to 30?
This would
this is clear. This
Yeah.
seems like page 30 to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Right, that's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
thought too, but I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure based on the page numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to cut it down as much as possible. Yeah.
No, it flowed really well. It had some good action. The pacing seemed to keep up. So,
I did. Someone's gonna
so that's all good. So yeah, Armando seems like an interesting character, and it's he definitely has his issues, and it's interested to see where it goes. So,
all right. Skinny.
I enjoyed it. I mean, it had a good flow, nice action. I got my brains blown out.
There you
I
go.
enjoyed it.
Happens. Danny.
Not a dull moment.
Yeah.
And a really good transition between a couple of different kinds of action-y scenes, and all of them clearly were associated with emotional impact. So
Yeah.
I am finally compelled to want to learn more.
There we go. Larry.
Yeah. Yeah, the pacing definitely increased, which was good. It's a much more frantic pace now, and it's not dragging out as much as the beginning of the story did with your original opening. So
Yeah.
that's always a good thing. Yeah, I like how it picks up really, really fast and just keeps going. So, and now we're in the mystery section of the script, which is good. Those are always fun. So.
I liked it. We got a little mystery going on,
Yep.
and it's kind of like a horror movie at this point. We got crazy fan, and my head's got blowed off by the chamber, but go to 42. But what 42? Oh, 42. Look at it. It's a motel. It's not just a Douglas Adams reference. There's a room here. Oh no, I'm trapped. I mean, a lot of stuff happening. So.
Cool.
Against constructive notes. Anyway. All right, I'll start. You got a lot of passives. Just a ton.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just chock full.
Dude. Yeah, and that's why I love doing this stuff, because it's reading it out loud. I totally felt that. I was like, oh fuck, man. Yeah, for sure.
There's
I was gonna say, as far as the pacing goes, I felt this one. I like that it was quick, but it doesn't fit the rest of the book, because like the rest that we've read on here has kind of been like slow and kind of dragging on, and then out of nowhere it's like, and then bam, bam, bam. It doesn't seem consistent with the overall flow.
My note on that note would be, these pages seem to be where we got a lot. Like Danny, for instance, was like, I'm now interested. So, if the rest of the story is slow and these pages are fast, that might be a problem. It might not, honestly. But I think that the answer would be to pump up the other pages, not to slow these down.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I even took Larry's note, which is to start on the fight last time. So, and again, I said it last time that this was originally supposed to be like a pilot episode, and that's why I did like the rewrite to make it make it feel more like a film.
I promise nobody's going to look back at this and say, I really missed that voiceover exposition.
I got rid of that as well. Yeah, for sure.
But that's why I wasn't saying to slow this one down. I was just saying that, compared to what we've read previously, it kind of came out of nowhere. It's like,
well, I mean,
we went from gear, we went from reverse to maybe like gear 5.
Yeah, whiplash.
It is good to have that sort of quiet moment at the beginning of a story like this, but I think you just needed to tighten it up a bit. That's all. That was my only concern with the previous pages.
Sure.
So
I will sort of double down on what I said about the emotional stakes being obvious and also actually quite compelling. Like those had real direct impact on the character in a way where we know who the protagonist is now, and we know that all of these things are affecting him. And that really, really helped me focus. I didn't spend half of it being like, well, what's Amy's position on this and what's she up to? I didn't care. So that was really good. As far as that's a note, I guess if this hasn't been rewritten, this is a strong sign that Armando is the protagonist. And if that ends up not being the case, actually this sequence might be a problem.
Right.
So it's more of a caution than a note, really. I quite like this.
He's right. It works if Armando's our main character.
We got, Tarsik wanted you to know, fight scene felt a little rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt. Deanna, were you?
So the closest thing I have to a constructive is the geography's unclear. And that's sort of in the sense that like I know it's not completely true, and there are places where this isn't the case, but a lot of America is a suburban hellhole. And so jumping over rooftops and ducking down back alleys and stuff like that, like,
I was
I don't
going to get to
remember
that.
where this is set,
Hmm.
but you're in America, and that doesn't really necessarily work outside of very dense areas, which there aren't a lot of.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
Gotham City.
my comment was going to be about the art direction, and
Mhm.
and this would apply both comic and film. You do not you explain things that don't need to be explained.
Yeah.
And I am forgetting off the top of my head, but you said, "Oh, so and such, he walks into the hotel, all the doors are locked." Well, we don't. How do we know all the doors are locked unless he checks them all?
Yeah.
In a screenplay, in a film, or a comic, he's not going to check every single door. It's not a novel. So you just tell us what actually happens. Focus on visualizing what actually is supposed to be on screen on the page, and then tell us that. And going back to the chase scene and some of the other actions, tell us what actually is happening. Don't just say, "Well, he runs really good and he's hopping stuff because he's an awesome athlete." That's not exciting. It's bad for art direction, whether film or comic. Again, if it's a comic, you're gonna have to tell your artist what he's drawing. If it's a film, yes, your director and your choreographer may come in and make changes, but at least give them an idea of what you want to see.
Yeah.
He runs down a crowded street and he grabs a kid's bicycle and throws it at the guy chasing him. Like,
Jumps
just be
over
a
the
little
fruit cart. Someone else drives through it. Oh,
right,
he's
exactly.
getting away
Right.
from the cops now.
All
Right.
of those little things,
Yeah.
will punch up your action and give us a visual, and it will
Yeah.
also help with the action and the pacing. So I
Yeah.
think focus on that kind of thing, and I agree with the jumping on rooftops things, because it's really, really hard to do even for the greatest athletes, because I don't know I don't know where you live, but that's okay. It's irrelevant. So when I was in California, and I managed parking garages. Okay,
Mhm.
parking garages for high rises in downtown and throughout the city. Even in downtown, the buildings typically had a truck and a quarter width between the two buildings, because there were loading docks, there were delivery entrances, because there was no room on the street, and they would pull into the alleys. They were typically one way. They would pull in from one street, they would park in the alley, the UPS guy would make his delivery, he would get back in his truck, and he'd keep driving. So you've got at least an alleyway of a truck and a quarter, plus you have the loading dock area, which is not always in the building. So we're talking on average, as I said, it was very infrequently when two buildings were actually close enough that you could jump one to the other. Even the most athletic person could not do that. I know movies make that happen all the time because it's exciting, but realistically, depending on how real world you want your story to be, that's unrealistic, because the buildings just are not, even in a city like Los Angeles, the buildings were just never that close together. They were always a good 20, 30, maybe even 50 feet apart. So nobody's jumping that without help, without springboards. So just keep that in mind if you decide what you want to do with that. It might just be better to, again, like Danny said, think about the geography of where it is that you want to, where you want your story set. What's it going to be like? Okay, is it suburban America? Okay, well, let me take a drive-by to suburban America.
And
there's a lot
maybe
of
all of a
places.
sudden it's just one cop instead of a gang of them, so he could escape. Like, all of that stuff gets answered once you figure out how you're going to place that location.
Yeah. I had another question for you too. What is the setting? Is this taking place in modern times, or is this a dated story?
Modern times.
So cell phones exist.
Yes, correct. He broke his. It was in the last read through we did. Lee made note of that. When he was punching the bag, Lee comes in and says, "Oh, you're not answering your cell phone," and he's like, "Oh, it broke."
Oh, okay. Because I had an idea, which I thought would be kind of cool and a little high tech.
Yeah.
And that would be to put a QR code on the metal card that he scans. And then it basically can plant a virus on his phone that can then give him the location, maybe GPS coordinates, then like maybe snap a screenshot or something, and then like disconnect his phone or something like that. So that way it's kind of on his phone.
Yeah, that's
I really
better.
love that.
That's better. Yeah, that's
And
good.
that goes with what Perp's already written. Oh, these like mysterious numbers. We'll just have it be mysterious dots. Looks at it with his phone, loads up the web page, takes over his phone, bam. And then it's
Well, I think
mysterious
I
while
think
still
the
being
40.
high tech.
I think the 42 is kind of important to. I'm guessing that's going to probably be like his call sign or his fighter number. That's kind of what I'm guessing is the 42 is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I was saying, like maybe like on the back of the card, it could just be a QR code, and everybody knows what a QR code. Even if he broke his phone, he might be like, oh, what's this QR code? Everybody knows what one is. So he could just go to the if he's, well, I don't know how broke he is, but he could get a phone or borrow a phone, or maybe he steals a phone from somebody to go scan the QR code.
Yeah.
And then, all right. The other thing this was kind of going back to the just when it comes to like screenplay stuff, like the old lady that says "police, police." That needs to be a dialogue thing. You don't just put that in the narrative. Like he walks out, even if it's off screen, you just say "old woman" off screen. Help, please.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing, and all of those types of things are. They said the narrative, the art direction is kind of a little off. And what I try to do when I write is I try to visualize my story as if it's on screen and if I'm watching it, and what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is what I'm visualizing in my head, and then I write what I'm visualizing in my head. That might be something to consider doing and thinking of it in terms of that way, rather than just basically saying Armando runs from point A to point B. Actually visualize him running. What's the neighborhood like? Who's around him? What's going on? Is there a dog in the backyard? Does he hop a fence and a pit bull comes after him? So now he's got to run and cross the yard away from the pit bull. Maybe the cop jumps the fence and gets mauled by the pit bull. One cop down. Like just visualize what is going to be happening, and I think it'll give you some ideas too on how to write those action scenes.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Sure. Oh, and unless you want those cops to show up out of nowhere, I typically, and this is just what I do unless I want them to show up from nowhere, I will usually either I'll foreshadow it either before they show up.
You broke up there a little bit?
I was talking about when the cops show up. So when he's fighting Than, that was another one. That was another scene too that was written with really, really poor art direction because I really couldn't see the fight. You basically just said they fought and then cops show up.
Yeah.
Whereas, actually show me the fight and show me him dropping. He gets on top and he punches him and he punches him and he punches him and he doesn't hear the police sirens and then or he doesn't footsteps approach that and then they grab him and and try to visual and that was, and his arrest was kind of weird too, but especially with everything going on with the police, it just it just kind of felt like, I don't know if it felt natural in how they would handle that kind of interaction,
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Sure.
Danny.
Okay, so this is a rehash of the final third of issue 1 of Reckless Child Endangerment, still probably a working title. I implemented the notes you guys gave me last time, and this is what we have. So I know a few weeks ago we read my issue 0, so that's not super related. The story so far, Gavin has entered Aganalia. He's desperate for a quest. Nobody wants to deal with this loser. Meanwhile, Priviel has visited a mystic shop and discovered that the infant produced by the cursed basket she possesses is non-magical. A gang of ninjas has attacked the town, kicked Gavin's ass, and literally thrown one protagonist into the other. Now they meet for the first time.
Cool.
Assign the parts.
Sure. Perp, why don't you read the direction?
Mm-hmm.
Skinny, you can be Priviel. John could be a good Gavin. And let's have Preston be the half-ogre boss. And there's some other minor parts that Larry and I will take over.
All right.
Sure.
Awesome. So panel 1, exterior, and Aganalia Mystic Shop. Trivial rummages through the bassinet. The baby sits on the ground.
Reveal Eloria.
Gavin of Bradiac. Or is that Bradiac?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
What's the plan?
They took my sword. I'm honor bound to retrieve it.
A noble one, ain't ya?
Panel number 2, Priviel pulled out 2 small potions from the basket and is inspecting Gavin. A couple of the nearby market attendees are approaching.
You're hurt, and we don't have much time. What do you need, healing or strength?
Healing won't help against that half-ogre. Strength will give me the few minutes where I can match him. Can you distract the thugs?
Sure. If you're good enough to survive, I want to hire you for a quest.
Panel number 3, close-up of Gavin's face, radiating joy.
A quest?
Panel number 4, Priviel hands the baby to a middle-aged woman. Gavin drinks his potion.
Here, watch this.
Sure, dearie. You show him how it's done. What's his name?
Ask him.
So panel number 5, Gavin leads as he and Priviel run back towards the market square away from the woman holding the baby.
Ask him what a beautiful name.
Yes. Panel number 1, exterior.
There we go.
All right.
It's that kind of story.
There we go.
Panel 1, exterior, Aganolia city center. View from behind Gavin's abandoned sword sticking out of the ground as he and Priviel rush into the city center. Priviel throws a Molotov cocktail into the group of thugs.
There's my sword. Ready to fight?
Damn right. I'll distract the bullies. You take the big one.
Panel number 2, the half-org commands his men when the Molotov cocktail bursts on the ground, throwing up a plume of smoke and flame occurring, obscuring the view of the thugs.
Looks like our knight in shining armor hasn't learned his lesson, eh, boys?
Whoosh.
I can't see.
So in panel number 3, the half-org field of vision is obscured by smoke. The silhouettes of 2 of his thugs are coughing, while another falls out of the smoke towards him, a knife in his neck.
Ooh. What's happening?
The girl, where'd she go?
So then in panel number 4, Gavin leaps into the air over the smoke, swinging a 6 foot long 2x4 plank with a nail sticking out of the business end.
Yeah.
Page 20, 5 panel. Okay, panel number 1, exterior, Agnolia. I want to say Magnolia. Exterior, Agnolia City Center. The half-orc dodges Gavin's attack, and the plank gets stuck in the dirt.
Ye came back for another beating, boy.
Panel 2, the half-orc kicks through the plank, smashing it to splinters and knocking Gavin into a nearby fishmonger's stall. Smash!
Let's go.
Panel 3, knives out. Privial fights 3 low-level thugs in the dissipating smoke.
You thieving bastards ought to learn not to mess with the vanquisher of Zal.
Panel number 4, a half-orc winds up for a deadly horizontal swing with his club.
Let's see us survive this.
Panel number 5, teeth gritted in a smirk. Gavin punches right through the half-orc's club. Panel 1, exterior, Agoli City Center. The half-orc still in position between Gavin and his sword swings a hammer fist blow. Gavin dodges under his legs.
You're gonna pay for that, hero.
Only if you can catch me, Tusky.
Gavin performs a jumping lunge punch, who twists halfway around to block with his forearm, which snaps.
Ooh, all right, I missed some direction there. The half ogre twists halfway to block with his forearm, which
Yeah,
snaps.
And that won't happen today.
Snap. The half-orc, panel number 3, the half-orc holds his broken arm and screams in pain. Yeah. So then, panel number 1, exterior, Angolia City Center. The half-orc falls to his knees in pain, still holding his broken arm. Gavin charges him again.
I swear by my honor, as son of Duchess Blush, I shall not be defeated on my Ascension Day. You think you can take what you want, kill who you want? Well...
And then in panel number 2, it punches his head clean off, spraying blood and bone across the street.
I won't let you hurt these people anymore.
Yeah. So then...
Krakoom.
Krakoom. So then panel number 3, exterior, it's still in the city. Privial continues to hold the thugs off, but they see the aftermath of Gavin's fight with their boss.
Take that and that.
Look, the boss.
He's down.
And still in the city, the remaining thugs reform around the half-orc.
Don't you think you've seen the last of us? The gnarled gang will never be defeated.
Panel number 2, the gnarling gang runs away, defeated, carrying the half-orc's body with them.
We'll have our revenge.
And then panel number 3, Gavin pulls his sword up out of the ground while celebrating onlookers surround him. Standing over the half-orc's head in the dust of his feet, he points at the squire of Bradiac, wearing a brooch with the Dutch's coat of arms.
Looks like he wasn't the mightiest creature in these hills after all. You, take this head to the Duchess. Tell her Sir Gavin has found adventure. She'll reward you. Go now.
Yes, Sir Gavin.
So then panel 1, still in the city. Privial and Gavin take a moment to catch their breath. Gavin's fallen to his knees, battered, exhausted.
Great work. Let's get out of here before someone decides we should pay for the damage.
Good idea. So, about that quest.
You're hired, kid, if you want to be. I need to find a magician to lift a curse.
Close-up, panel number 2, it's a close-up on Gavin's face. He's over the moon.
I swear on my honor, as a knight of Bradiac, that I will accompany and defend you to the best of my abilities.
And then panel number 3, the outside of Angolia Gates, crane shot as Gavin and Privial walk beside each other on the dusty path. Gavin leads Gringodal by a rope. The town of Angolia's already in the distance.
I'll caption. Some travel to Aganalia for goods, some for profit. One rarely finds the expected on market day, least of all, an adventure.
By the way, what happened to your baby?
Don't worry about it. I'll explain later.
So, panel number 4, the exterior of the Angolia Mystic Shop. The middle-aged woman holds the crying baby, looking incredibly vexed. Wah.
Where the bleep did that girl go?
All right. Well, we had an ogre battle, and we had some jokes, and the ogre got defeated, and the hero won his quest. Well, at least his quest to get a quest.
He gained a quest, yeah.
He gained a quest. Oh,
He,
cool stuff,
Yeah.
Larry.
Yes, pacing was good. It was definitely a little bit more. The main characters seem to have a better connection in this version, which is good. So, I think your rewrite was successful. So, I would
John.
definitely say.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I like this little story. It's kind of cute and funny, and yeah.
Skinny.
Yeah, I like the pacing. The action was really solid. I could visualize it all very easily, except for that one block typo, but you pointed that out already. I really like the addition of more jokes like the Ask Him. I really
love
can't
that
tell
joke.
I
That was a good
enjoyed
joke.
that.
Yeah, classic joke. Yeah.
There's a lot of jokes that kind of don't work in comics.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that one does.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I really dug it. When you made that clarification of whose bone broke from the block, like I already had visualized like the momentum of me reading it. I already saw that happen, even though it wasn't written there. So it's like I guess it's a tribute to the writing, where it's like you could sort of go along with it. I think I was trying to figure out a way of saying this because it's not a comedy, but it is funny. But I think John nailed it in the head when he said it's cute, not in a condescending way. I like cute things. I think it almost feels like it's RPG the comic, like in the way you do the potion and get this drink this for a little bit, and I really dig that. There's like a sense of humor to it, but at the same time it's doesn't feel like an all out comedy, which I really dig.
So, thanks so much, guys.
Yeah. Constructives. All right. There you go.
The only one I really would
there
have.
we go.
I have.
Yay!
I thought you were calling on people. I thought that's how it worked.
Yeah, call on people, Preston.
No.
No. And anyone wanted Perp? You got one?
I don't know if it's complex, but I like stuff when it's like this stuff too. People like put into like a quest or something. If there's more butting of heads of sort, I don't know if you're setting up for that or something, but just like in all like the great buddy cop movies and all that stuff, it's usually two people that are kind of butting heads or vastly different from each other, and you want to see how they're going to get into a quest together. I'm not sure if you have that set up already, but it's something to think about if you don't. And that's pretty much it. I thought it was great. Other than that,
John.
My comment was just on the art direction. Your panels are very clear, and you can see the action in the panels, but there's a lot of action in some of the panels. And there was one, and I was thinking about stopping it, but it didn't. Actually, Preston, do you have the script still handy?
I just closed it. Hold on. I'll bring it back up. All right. Download.
It was like right near the beginning. That's why I didn't want to stop this.
Right. Okay. Share screen. Share screen. Okay.
Go back to the beginning. Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down. a little bit. Hold on a second. I'm back. Still, go back. Sorry. So there was a... Oh, yeah. Not that one. The one before it. Pretty sure. Yeah. So, like this one here, the half-ogre commands his men when the Molotov cocktail bursts to the ground, throwing a plume of smoke, obscuring... So, like, a panel like that, like, I can't visualize that as one frame. As an action scene, I can visualize it if it was a movie. But as a comic, I can't visualize what that's going to look like. So if I was the artist, I'd have no clue what I'm drawing. You know? So I would talk... you know, think of it... Like, I tend to think of it in, like, layers. So, like, you can have, like, the fire is on the ground exploding, you know, and he's standing behind him, you know, pointing in one direction or whatever. Can you scroll up a little bit? Yeah, I guess I'll just stop there. So that's kind of my thinking. Like some of the panels, I had a little trouble visualizing how it would look. So that would be my only comment. Is to just, I mean, unless you have a really good artist who knows the way you write, and you might have that, and he might know how you think and all of that. But for me, I had trouble visualizing some of them as single frames, while I felt that they worked as a scene where I could see the action that was happening, but just not in one frame. So I don't know, just something to think about.
No, that's a great note, and I have an illustrator, and I think she's going to do great with this. But the better the direction I give, the better it's going to be at the end. So yeah, there's still time for me to change it, which is what you guys are here for.
Yeah, I typically think when I write comic panels, I typically think in layers. So I'll say in the foreground, this is happening. In the midground, this is happening. In the background, this is happening. And I'll typically, because at least with the way Preston does this, he goes by comic page, not PDF page. Mm-hmm. So if it takes you 2 pages to explain one comic page, that's fine. So I'll typically will take that panel and I would create 3 paragraphs, and I will describe foreground is in 1 paragraph, midground is in 1 paragraph, the next layer is in the next paragraph. So it might be the Molotov cocktail is exploding on the ground. Behind the puff of smoke, the ogre stands, you know, commanding his men. You know, behind that, you know, behind him, his men rally around him, or something along those lines. You know.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. I'm going to do that tonight. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to be our narrator?
Well, I guess I'm probably on the hook at this point.
There we go. Danny will narrate.
Plus, who wants finally forcing me to read this?
Who wants to be Guinevere? Larry, you can be Guinevere.
Yes.
All right, and John can be Eric, and Perp can be Viviax, and Skinny can be everybody else until we get to the well, let's just get through. Yeah, Skinny, you can be everybody else here in these first 6 pages, and then we'll switch when we get to the humans.
All right.
Lords of Iron, page 1, panel 1. On the dark side of Venus, an artificial hemisphere reflects sunlight onto the planet's dark side, illuminating it with the intensity of bright moonlight. Large, puffy white clouds hang in the skies over the snow-covered alien landscape, washed by blue oceans. No copy. Panel 2. A white, fluffy, gene-altered freak of a jackrabbit.
It used to say, "Behold the Venus of the future," and you didn't
just
like that.
say Venus and the year.
I don't want to say year.
Fine. Venus in the future.
All right.
Venus, the goddess. Her nipple. It doesn't matter. Sorry, that was Nima's editor note there, and that was great. High five, Preston.
There you go.
Panel 2. A white, fluffy, gene-altered freak of a jackrabbit nipples at vegetation just under a thick blanket of snow.
He's so pretty. Look at him.
Panel 3. Foreground. The Guinevere incarnation of Trinity, whose appearance and speech vary between 3 different personalities, stands wearing a white fur coat, looking a bit like a dark fantasy snow queen. Only a bit?
Only a bit.
Lucifer,
Just
a drone,
bit.
and Maximilian, a warrior, stand in attendance. See style sheet. Distant background. The alien Arctic jackrabbit sits pensively on his hindquarters.
Oh, I think he hears something.
Panel 4. A monstrous, gene-altered freak of an Arctic owl swoops down and grabs the coat of the frightened rabbit.
Sorry.
Perp, I think you're Viviax.
Oh, it says Trinity. Oh no.
It does, but Trinity has 3 different personalities.
Oh.
She's weird. Anyway.
Okay. A bit too late to avoid death?
Trinity reacts in red-faced disappointment.
God, he was just a darling with those cute twitchy ears. I really think we need more rabbits around here. We ought to boost their hearing.
Panel 6. Leaving the forest. Eric Trinity. Trinity Eric?
Eric Trinity.
Eric Trinity leads Lucifer and Maximilian towards a nearby driverless enclosed hover car parked along the stream. In the distance lies an Art Deco sci-fi cityscape covered in snow. This is where you mentioned the Art Deco, Preston.
Well, it's in design notes. So,
Oh, good. Okay, all good then.
Okay.
Nonsense. Jackrabbits fulfill the role of herbivorous prey for this ecosystem quite nicely. To increase their survivability would deprive the carnivores of their protein. Entirely counterproductive.
Page 2. Lucifer assists Viviax Trinity as she steps into the car. Maximilian keeps a respectable distance.
If we're revising old designs, let's start with Lucifer here. Every time I am forced to look at him, I feel shame for his glaring imperfections.
Quite understandable, Your Highness.
Panel 2. Snow falls from the cold gray sky as they fly through the air towards a distant commanding spire standing tall among the Art Deco metropolis. Eric Trinity's rear seat shows a high-tech array of displays and interfaces, and her head-mounted antennae assume a new position to interface and broadcast.
Catrix, Godhead Assembly.
That's just a great turn of phrase. Well done, Preston.
Okay.
Panel 3. The Trinity's resting form yields to no dominant personality as her perception slips into a form of VR cyberspace. Her outward antennae plug directly into ports in her vehicle, while the inner two form as radio antennae processing remote signals. Faint hints of the next panel begin to superimpose themselves on her reality.
And skin
Interface request granted.
Panel 4. In mind space. All 3 forms of Trinity stand as separate entities whose mental projections reflect a marriage of their older identities from the days of Guinevere and the Divinity Factory, but subtly updated to reflect their unholy union. Catrix, the collective intelligence of the V species created by Trinity, appears as a biomechanical pillar. Oblivious, faint shadows of Maximilian and Lucifer appear in the background.
Welcome, Your Highness. Our expeditionary forces have reached halfway point and begun decelerating.
Looks like it's time to shit or get off the pot.
Earth communications have increased by an order of magnitude since the forced departure.
I savor the delicious smell of fear.
Catrix, project the Pantheon to expeditionary force.
Panel 5. Mind space. The Trinity trio appear floating in open space, still floating near the decelerating V warship as it flies stern first into the blackness of the void. Catrix's face projects onto the body of the V ship as though it were the obelisk from the prior panel.
Wow, we haven't been here in so long.
Not since the war ended, 69 dawns ago. Now we return to demonstrate our latest war machines.
The carnage that will follow.
Page 3, Panel 1. Guinevere rebukes Viviax while Eric attempts to mediate. The background, K-Trix watches from the perch of a nearby ship with amusement.
We ain't here for carnage.
Oh, come now, darling. A bit of hyperbole in a moment of excitement.
We shall dispatch a single Hellion dropship and anticipate a squad-to-squad engagement with whatever they send in response. Hardly genocide.
52 hours to launch.
Panel 2. The Distance, a mechanized smelting facility installed into the dwarf planet Ceres, projects noticeably into open space. K-Trix's face projects onto the planetoid's surface. Jets of blue-green hydrogen gas erupt from the maneuvering thrusters of an ore-carrying mining robot as it flies towards a lighted landing port in the installation. In the foreground, Guinevere stares into the distance.
And after we spank him, Earth's not just going to leave. Why would they?
We estimate their smelting facility processes 2/3 of all ore taken from the belt.
Panel 3. The Trinity Trio now float in closer proximity to Ceres, where K-Trix remains.
We must seize Ceres to fulfill our destiny of entering the larger galaxy at large.
Yeah, screwed that up. Sorry.
Must we? It seems like you two were just gloating over how we were going to obliterate the humans.
Our superiority entitles us to the spoils of victory.
It is the nature of the strong to prey on the weak and defenseless.
Panel 4. The Trinity Trio project floating above an ore processing facility housed within Ceres, where a mining robot dumps its payload into the top of a large cylindrical tower, made chiefly of tungsten alloys upon which K-Trix manifests. Within the tower, a spiral mixer agitates the loose damp ore, which glows orange as it melts.
Don't feel right to me. Earth built this thing like we said they could in that treaty we all signed.
Just as we shall bring war under those same terms.
The material cost to recreate this facility would greatly cripple the collective. Logic demands we take from our competitors.
Page 4, Panel 1. Wide, K-Trix manifests on an enormous steel cauldron, which sits beneath the glowing smelting tower, waiting to receive the payload, but the hot, still glowing valve at the base of the tower remains closed. The trio stand around the cauldron, the side of which bears stamped block letters reading temperature fraction 1 mouse 50K.
Yeah.
Oh, 1850K.
1850, yeah.
Lack of minerals has stymied our efforts for too long. Think of how farther the collective could reach with the steady stream of minerals shipments currently enjoyed by Earth.
Panel 2. On the side of the cauldron, K-Trix's face expresses surprise as the glowing valve from the bottom of the tower opens, releasing a torrent of lava to flow into the waiting receptacle. Jets of liquid water spray through the illusionary images of the trio as they continue to argue before the now steaming cauldron.
We agreed that the humans would be given a fair chance to colonize the system.
Fairness? To our inferiors? Disgusting!
Panel 3. The spray of water continues, flying through the avatars as the steaming cauldron glows bright orange from the intense heat of the lava being poured into it. K-Trix's manifest face shows shock. A pair of 3-pronged electromagnetic rods deploy from housings towards their resting place on either side of the cauldron.
I must connect the consciousness of the collective to this tower.
Like most of our damn machines, K-Trix seems quite the sensation whore.
It's the drive that keeps us alive, Ginger.
Panel 4. The 3-pronged rods seat and activate on either side of the cauldron. As the display reads, magnetic field intensity, 500 gravities. As the magnets activate while haze of water continue to cool the now white-hot cauldron of iron as lava continues to pour. K-Trix's manifest face on the cauldron stands frozen in shock.
And look at that face. Can you imagine how intense it must feel to be hot, filled, and magnetized for the very first time?
That's oddly
Panel 5.
sexual.
Yeah.
That line
That's the
justified that
point.
art direction.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I was going to have a note there.
Okay.
Panel 5. Having returned to a cooler temperature, the cauldron drifts through the air, suspended by a crane assembly designed to convey it to the base of a large electromagnetic railgun. Catrix's manifest face broadcasts her excitement as the trio float in nearby proximity.
And now for the climax. Look how long that shaft is.
Must I only fantasize about such intensity?
Can we just get serious for a minute?
Page 5. Panel 1. Background. Prominent facial features betray the amplified bone density of these pale-skinned workers. As they guide the enormous crane-suspended cauldron, still bearing Catrix's excited face into a pre-established groove for rapid acceleration along the shaft. Foreground. The trio address each other.
I'm about to go all the way.
I think we all are.
We can't take over this base.
Of course we can. We can't coddle the humans forever just because you used to be one of them.
Panel 2. The trio float in open space, looking down on the 300-meter shaft at the base of which sits the soon-to-be-fired cauldron.
So they just shoot the damn thing back home?
The available iron in these asteroids grants them an easy way to do just that, while not exactly elegant.
Here comes the pulse.
Panel 3.
Fuck.
The cauldron flies out the end of the shaft at high speed. Catrix's face shows the intense surprise of a person on a roller coaster right at the moment of the big drop. The trio hover around the shaft. Preston.
What?
Eh.
It does seem rather fun.
Panel 4. Foreground. The trio look off into distant space as the cauldron, background, flies at high velocity towards the distant planet Earth.
Their second Iron Age shall be short-lived.
Why is it going to be all or nothing?
Nothing is our share of the belt at the moment. Should we be content to let the humans play as the lords of their iron playground?
Yo, title drop!
There you go.
Roll credits.
Panel 5. Foreground. The trio float in space, gazing down upon Ceres. Background. Below them, an FP-27 duo suit gracefully floats above the surface.
Particularly when our latest generation of fully integrated bioroids will make short work of their defenses.
The weak are meat.
Well, I've agreed to this show of force to demonstrate our new weapons.
Speaking of, Catrix, prepare to broadcast a message to the humans.
Panel 6. The stern visage of Eric Trinity seated upon her biomechanical throne projects sinister intent into her message. Her inner two razor-sharp antennae seem to stab the air, while the outer two remain plugged into ports on the throne.
To the attention of Admiral Oliver Hood and to the Earth Defense Fleet that serves under him, know that we are coming to claim our stake in the solar system. We will leave you your moon and all of the resources it presents, but we will no longer tolerate humanity's monopoly on the resources of the solar system. Our forces will arrive at Ceres for the first time in the last 23 of your Earth years. No doubt you will feel obligated to make some show of force. Keep your response proportional, and only the lives of the sent warriors shall be forfeit. However, any attempts to escalate this conflict will be sorely punished. These
are the words
of Trinity.
Page 7. As described in the style sheet, Luna Base features 4 large domed structures covered by solar panels atop tons of lunar regolith. The One Earth Defense Fleet flagship Victory sits docked on the surface. A long electromagnetic takeoff ship begins at the base and goes off panel. Luna Base. Panel 2.
Skinny, you can be Gonzalez, and
All right.
Perp, you can be Hood.
Yeah.
Admiral Oliver Hood, the aged veteran of the last war, sits in the ready room of the Victory. A wall-mounted view screen sits frozen on the image of Trinity from the previous page. A larger view screen shows President Gonzalez of Earth, a Central American man in his late 50s.
As you can see, Admiral, Trinity's message puts us on a war footing as she makes a claim for the belt.
We find ourselves in an unenviable position of not knowing how their opponent's military has evolved.
Panel 3. Hood shoulders the difficult responsibility of command as the President Gonzalez looks to him for guidance from the video conference screen.
Are we going to chance an armed conflict?
War is diplomacy by other means, Mr. President. They have announced their intention to fight for the belt.
We can yield part of our output to them.
Assuming they would stop at that.
They have us negotiating from weakness if we can't repel their advances, Admiral.
Panel 4. Admiral Hood shares an image of another screen, on another screen of sleek Bioroid transport, see style sheet, flying through space as his video conference with Hood continues.
So far, their mothership has dispatched but one transport craft. Trinity's message told us what response she would deem acceptable. It would seem they feel they can dispatch one of our squads in order to intimidate us into surrender.
Part of me is tempted to cave.
Without a better idea of their combat capabilities, we could be giving away a lot of material needlessly. Let's not forget, Mr. President, the resources of the solar system is a zero-sum game. If they gain, we lose. That's a trailer line right there.
Panel 5. Hood displays confidence to a worried Gonzalez.
Negotiating with Trinity will be even harder if she stands us a defeat in our first battle.
Not all defeats are the same, Mr. President. If we bloody their nose and demonstrate our willingness to write and die instead of roll over, I would think you might be in a much stronger position.
I would like to hear Baranov's readiness report from Saris.
Panel 6. The two men end the conversation, resolved to their courses of action.
Well, there's an hour delay for him to hear us and respond. I think it's best, Mr. President, if we make this decision now about whether we shall commit force and leave the decision about whose responsibility the defense of Ceres shall be.
Very well, Admiral. We'll do it your way. Commit one squad for a proportional response, just as Trinity said, and do our best to bloody her nose.
Affirmative, Mr. President. I will get with Baranov and keep you informed as our response plan progresses. Hood out.
Page 8. Panel 1. Admiral Hood records a video to send to Baranov.
Valkyrie, record video dispatch to Alpha Knight Baranov at Ceres Outpost.
Recording video message, Admiral.
Yeah.
Alpha Knight Baranov, as you are aware, the enemy has entered the vicinity of Ceres.
Panel 2. Nikolai Baranov, late 30s commander of Ceres, apprehensively watches the recording of Admiral Hood on his view screen inside his quarters on the Yak-3 transport ship.
In conferring with the President, I reiterated to him the importance of not putting us on a weak footing for the talks that will doubtless be coming in the wake of this aggression.
Panel 3. Baranov stands at the head of the ready room inside the Yak-3 transport, which will take them into action. Whoever them is. Video displays behind shows the Bioroid transport craft, as well as the message from Admiral Hood. Seated like students in a classroom, the other 14 members of the Legion listen to him. Lilia Danovich sits among them, borrowing her looks from the title character of the White Lily series. Katya Urkov, another character taken from White Lily, sits behind her. Sergei Ivanov, another warrior companion of Russian descent with no art direction, sits by Lilia. Flight suits adorn all members of the crew.
Who wants to be Baronov?
I'll do it.
All right, go for it.
All right, everyone. The Admiral has been quite clear on what role we are to play here. One squad has been assigned to intercept and take the fight to the enemy.
Panel 4. Seated together, Katya, Lilia, and Sergei stoically watch the briefing.
I have set a 120-minute countdown to launch, most likely 36 hours till battle. We will be doing further briefings and battle drills en route.
Panel 5. Lilia stands in her quarters, gathering a vodka bottle and glass off a metal table made to retract into the wall while not in use. Katya peeks into her room from the hallway.
Prep ship for transport and send any final messages home to your loved ones, as that will not be an option en route.
All right, we need a Kai and Lilia.
All right, I'll do Katya.
Okay. Larry, you can do Lilia.
Sure.
Need help stowing your gear.
Yet, comrade, almost done.
Page 9. Panel 1. Lilia stows her bottle and glass in a cabinet as Katya attempts to reach her.
You feel ready for what's to come?
Do I have a choice?
Yes, we're still at Ceres and have been assigned a dangerous mission where everyone in the crew needs to be 100%. You can choose to report that. You can choose to report that you are not mentally ready. And
Panel 2. Lilia turns to Katya as she slams the cabinet door shut.
No one else needs to die in my place.
you seem to already know the outcome.
And so do you. And so do you. Trinity only attacks to press an advantage.
Panel 3. Small inset flashback. Wearing her armored personnel suit, Lilia's face displays fear in low light. Panel 4. Lilia's cold temper unnerves Katya.
That doesn't mean we can't give as good as we get.
Grief therapy program teach me to recognize denial.
And when was the last time you checked in with that?
I talked to that computer for many hours. Earth Defense cleared me for duty, and I will not play victim now.
Panel 5. Small inset flashback. HUD display. The helmet's low light vision shows a space pirate ahead in a different form of power armor approaching down a dark hallway.
Space pirates.
SFX.
Space
Range to
pirates.
hostile. 6 meters. Panel 6. Katya attempts to calm an irritated Lilia.
Okay, well, are you still experiencing any post-traumatic stress?
Panel 7. Small inset flashback. Lilia flexes her armored fist as a 1 meter sharp metal knife wreathed in white hot plasma extends from a housing in the forearm of the armor. Computer voice. Anti-personnel bayonet deployed.
Yeah.
Panel 8. Lilia holds the door to her cabin open for Katya as she pushes her out the door.
I'm fine. No need to help stowing me gear.
Panel 9. Lilia reclines against the door in the low light of her cabin. Page 10. Flashback. Lilia stands in a pitch-dark hallway illuminated only by the light of the flaming short sword extending from her right forearm. Down the hallway, the space pirate's own flaming sword shows his intent. Panel 2. Flashback. Shrouded in darkness, save for their weapons of ill intent, the two armor's figures approach each other in the corridor.
We have nothing of value to write over. Why don't you just leave?
Panel
Now.
3. Flashback. The space pirate brings his sword in a broad arc for her head, which impacts with Lilia's armored left forearm that she bring in to block his swing as she lunges forward with her own weapon mounted on her right arm.
Gah.
Panel 4. Having slid down the door of her cabin after showing Katya out, Lilia looks as the burn on the burn on the outside of her left forearm. Panel 5. Flashback. Lilia's bayonet of doom glides through the protective visor of her enemy's helmet and impacts the young man directly in his terrified face. Preston, be a pirate.
No. Oh, there we go.
Panel 6. Flashback. Lilia's bayonet zzz, and the pirate's face black, and it melts through his faceplate and skull.
Woohoo!
We got target
SFX
disabled.
Target disabled.
Yeah.
Additional enemy combatants detected in cargo bay.
So those are the first 10 pages, as typo written as they may be.
I like the new opening. I like that you're setting the stakes high from the beginning. I think that's much stronger than the other openings that you've presented, and it really drew me in more so than those did.
Cool. Skinny.
Okay. I enjoyed the pacing overall, and like John just pointed out, you did raise the stakes pretty damn high right off the jump. Yeah, you got me hooked. I want to know more.
All right, cool. Perp.
Yeah, I'm not good with sci-fi, but I really dig this. I don't know if I'm off on this, but it feels like it's like this witchy atmosphere, but at the same time futuristic tech stuff going on, and I think that's a totally original vision. But like I said, I'm not aware of other sci-fi literary works or the movies, and I think that this is a really cool setting. If I could just ask, so like my character Viviax, Guinevere, they're all one person physically?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
so cool. That's really fucking cool. Okay, so I really like that. I really dig that. There's a lot of stuff going on. I was able to follow for the most part. I really dig that it feels like it's a world event. You know, you got the Russians, you got the president. I just dig it. I'm really gonna want to know what, like as they said, the others said, you know, I want to know what happens because you created such an interesting world of what I'm visioning, witches versus cyberpunk, which is fucking the coolest thing ever. You know, yeah, I dig it.
Cool. Awesome. Larry.
Yes. It's definitely an interesting take on the story you had before, so I'm kind of interested to see where it goes. But yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Danny.
Love the Venus intro. I really like how you introduced Katya and Lily. I think that's a really good way of introducing Lily in the context that you intended her to, with enough continuity with the previous series that you're giving that love letter to your fans the way you wanted to. And that really helps establish the world in a super cool way. I already missed the creepy, weird Earth death cult religion.
Oh, we're going to see that next, but yeah.
Just saying, I already miss it.
All right.
And the enemy's plot is stupid clear right now. So you've really strongly established the stakes. You've established that one of our protagonists is definitely a survivor, and there's all kinds of weird stuff going on. You've established what the Venusians are like and what everybody wants reasonably well. And so I have no doubt that the remaining 12 pages are going to pay this off.
Awesome. All right, constructives. I usually just throw that out there, and whoever wants to voice one.
I'm going to go last.
Okay, yeah.
There was two. Well, I was confused in the art direction in two places.
Okay.
Specifically, when you went from, you said Viviax, Eric, Viviax. I'm sorry, Trinity, Eric, Trinity, Viviax.
Yes. Right. Well, all right. So I put in there like see style sheet. So in the style sheet, I have a note to the artist that when there's a dominant personality, I actually want them to be drawn and colored more like what that character was in Divinity Factory. So like Eric's incarnation of Trinity will be more blonde and more masculine, and Viviax's will be more like flush red, voluptuous kind of seeming with like more, more platinum hair, and Guinevere will be.
So she's going to be like shape shifting.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
Okay, that was where I was confused.
Subtly, yes. So.
Yeah. So okay, cool. The second thing is, and this was just a minor thing. Unless you're hurting for page count, I would not drop 6 panels on page 1. I don't know. I think like describing like the Earth, the moon base, and Venus and that kind of stuff. Maybe do like start with a splash page or something bigger or less panels that helps you to get us a sense of the world visually before we jump right into, like that. So like you have panel 1, it looks gorgeous, but it's 1 of 6, and I don't know, like unless my thought is unless you're hurting for page count, spend some, maybe introduce some of that stuff kind of a little bit more than shoving.
Okay, sure.
6. It's just a thought. It's not.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I just meant. It was just a stylistic choice.
Okay.
That's all.
All right. Next. All right, Skinny, you got anything? Larry?
I got nothing.
Skinny, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I got nothing. I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right, Danny, go ahead.
The tour through the factory is cute, but that entire conversation was a little bit long-winded. At worst, I would prefer it at least ends on a flip once they start discussing Earth. But the sexy talk was good, so we've got to find a way to keep that characterization, because I think that is going to be important in the long term. I'm not sure if it needs to be in issue 1 though. And the entire, like, aside from like 1 or 2 panels, none of the scene with the Admiral and the President needed to be there.
Okay.
Like, hey, we discussed this, Baranov, here's your goal, and then we go to our protagonists who we're supposed to actually care about when they presumably die at the end of this issue.
Yes.
And the faster we get to caring about them before they die, I think the more effective that payoff is going to be.
Okay.
Yeah. Did feel a bit long in those scenes. Like, it seemed to drag a little bit. That would be my only constructive, but...
The scenes being at Hood and Gonzalez, or...
I mean, like, the out-of-body factory tour.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, right. The scene with the Admiral, it's just, I don't know. I can't really...
Like, what, 7 of these pages were exposition out of 10?
That's fine, but especially where he's got to establish a world or whatnot, I just think it could have been tightened a little bit, that's all. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It could be just because I'm tired, but I don't know. I was having a little bit of trouble following some of those scenes, so...
Some of this might be resolved by juggling if you want to keep a bunch of it. So we could discuss that later, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. All right. On we go to Demonatrix. Our perennial favorite. Okay, so
get the glasses on for this one. So.
All right. Let's. Well, first I got to go. Oh, here it is. All right, John, tell us about Demonatrix.
So this is the continuation of my rewrite of issue 2.
All right.
So if you remember, I'm kind of changing up the character dynamic relationship between Emmy and Lolita to see if I can increase the dramatic tension and make things a little more interesting. So in the last set of pages, Lolita basically took over Emmy's body, snorted some coke, went to a strip club, killed the proprietor, and that was kind of where I think. Oh, and Emmy woke up, went to church, and that whole thing. So that's kind of where we left it last time. I skipped a few pages because I wanted to focus more on the end of, or my thoughts on how I want to end this issue. So we skipped a few pages, and basically what we're skipping, is that the proprietor of the strip club, Carlos, his body washed up on the shore, and the police found him. They identified his body as being the proprietor of the strip club and made a comment that they are going to go to the strip club and try to find out who was the last person that saw Carlos. And then, and the other thing is, basically the madam from the other pages that I had presented, Pepper,
You're breaking up over there, John.
And she is the person that. Okay, I'm back. And basically, Lolita more or less put Pepper in charge of the strip club. So that is kind of where we're picking.
Makes perfect sense.
Why did Lolita put Pepper in charge of the strip club? Why does Lolita care about a strip club?
Like beat somebody up with her crotch? Or cocaine?
All right.
Okay, so it
was a vagina gun. I don't remember.
Let's say
the vagina gun was like issue 5, I want to say.
Yeah. That may not even happen depending on how this.
Oh, thank God. All right, sold. I love this already. Let's go.
So what I'm trying to establish is the aura, and that she needs to be in a place that's evil to mask her aura from the angels.
Okay.
And the reason why she puts Pepper in charge is because Pepper has papers, as we're going to soon find out.
Pepper has papers.
Papers, please. Yeah.
Who is reading?
Same as usual.
Okay, that means I'm reading.
Larry, I know you said you're tired. Are you up to reading?
No, I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a trooper.
I mean, if he wasn't ready to read the Demonatrix, what the hell is he doing here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were born ready.
Who else is here? Skinny, why don't you do Pepper and Little Movie Perp? You can do you can do Detective Jacobs.
Yeah.
All right.
And we'll go from there.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Tap, tap. The door opens. London, a 21-year-old bussy blonde. Wow, that's an improvement right there.
There we go.
Enters, yes.
Pepper, there are some police detectives here to see you.
Thank you.
London exits. Pepper smiles at Lolita.
Letting them find the body was stupid.
It starts with the rumor mill that he's dead. And when his body disappears, they'll think I'm so powerful I got away with it and they won't fuck with me. Or he turns state's evidence and is in witness protection.
What?
Lolita.
Sorry.
Lolita rolls her eyes. Yeah.
Whatever. I think you're overcomplicating this storyline.
That was the perfect read, by the way.
I like it. There we go.
Yeah. All right. So we're the club.
There's no way to do that lettering.
Yeah.
You just can't keep moving R's. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, club foyer. Pepper enters the foyer where Jacobs and Patel are waiting.
Good afternoon, detectives. This way.
Bar. Pepper leads them into the bar.
Care for a drink?
No, ma'am. Is Carlos in? We'd like to speak with him.
Pepper mixes herself a gin and tonic.
I heard he was going out of town. Signed over the entire club to me.
She takes a sip, smiles warily at them.
Riley.
Riley. Oh, sure, whatever. Riley. There we go.
Really? I'd like to see that paperwork.
Normally, I would tell you to get a warrant, but I'm feeling generous today.
Pepper waves. Salt approaches, hands Jacobs a piece of paper.
Signed and notarized.
Exterior intersection. The police coroner's van sits crashed into a parked vehicle, the back door torn open.
So you have no idea where Carlos is right now?
Exterior outer space. Lolita in demon form gives Carlos's body a shove, letting it float away into space. Okay.
That's unexpected.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm behind this still. By the way,
okay.
Just clarifying.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm okay. Anyway, yes. Interior strip club bar. Pepper takes.
By the way,
yeah.
it's, I've gotta go ahead and get all technical since we're in screenplay format. From the sources I'm reading, it's just space. It's not exterior space. It's space.
And
space.
outer space. Anyway,
I've always wondered that. I really have. I've always wondered, how do you do outer space?
It's apparently it's neither exterior nor interior. It's just outer space.
Okay.
Space.
All right. Cool.
Space. The
Must have been a nightmare for Gravity. Yeah.
all right. Yeah. So Pepper takes another sip. Go ahead, Pepper. Where are you?
The universe is a big place. Carlos could be anywhere, detectives. I honestly have no idea.
Okay, we'd like to interview some of your employees.
Of course, I'll give you my attorney's card. You can schedule all the interviews you like through him.
Buzz. Patel steps back, answering her phone. We need a Patel, I guess.
What happened? Was anyone hurt? Okay, stay on it.
Preston is now cancelled. But anyway,
There
Patel hangs up her phone, exchanges glances with Jacobs, looks back at Pepper.
Well, detectives, I've shown you my papers. I've been more than hospitable. If you have any further questions, you can go through my attorney.
Pepper finishes her drink, puts the glass in the sink. That rhymes.
My man will show you out.
Salt grunts at them. Jacobs and Patel take their leave as Salt escorts them out. Interior strip club night. The club is in full swing, packed with patrons. Girls in thongs serve drinks. 2 girls dance provocatively on the main stage. A male dancer gives a male patron a lap dance. It's a gender equal dance club. That's good.
There we go.
Something for everyone.
Yeah. As everyone, as his
was
buddies
actually
cheer him on. Yeah.
Part of a scene that I cut. That was one of Pepper's things she wanted to do when Lolita gave her the club. She's like, "Yeah, I want more diversity in our hires."
Gotcha. Okay. 2 patrons sip on drinks, exchange small brown envelopes at the bar. Pepper drinks gin and tonic. She loves it. Exterior police station. Jacob sits at his desk sipping his coffee.
I think she wanted us to find his body.
Patel shuts off her computer. She gathers up her things from her desk. I think that's your line, Press.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Hello, Steve. I'm like, look, I know he was taking a nap, but he's here now. It's good to have you, sir.
Steve, it's good time for you to wake up yet. Anyway,
go home, Henry. The caseload will. Like now, I'm making him Irish. All right. Go home, Henry. All right. The caseload will be waiting for you tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, right behind you.
Patel exits the office. Jacob lets out a long sigh. Exterior strip club alley. Lolita exits the back of the club into the alley, finding Emmy leaning against the walls, smoking.
Keep that up. Our time together will be shorter than longer.
You're going to be stuck together forever, regardless of what side we're on.
Lolita shrugs, leans back against the wall. She takes the cigarette from Emmy, sucking a drag off of it. There we go.
I'm not like you, Lolita. Just surviving. isn't good enough for me.
You're 19 years old. You've got your whole life ahead of you.
Now you sound like my father. He convinced me to go to college, and even then, I didn't know what I wanted. And then he killed him.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, once the heat is off you, you can do whatever you want.
The radio hanging off Lolita's hip squawks. Pepper. Skinny Pepper.
Sorry, that's my bad.
That's okay.
Lolita, I need to see you in my office.
Lolita pulls up the radio.
What's up, sweetie?
Just come here.
Lolita rolls her eyes, heading up the steps.
Sure. I hire you if you're just going to call me into the office every time you have a problem.
Manager's office. Pepper and Lolita stare at the monitor screen showing Jacob standing in the foyer, holding his badge up to the CCTV.
I'm glad you called me. I'll take care of him. Tell them to waive his cover charge.
Interior strip club bar. Start musical montage. Jacobs crosses the club towards the bar as Pepper takes a seat.
Can I get you a drink, detective? First one's on the house.
I want to verify if you've updated your licenses.
Pepper waves to the bartender. He produces a small file jacket from behind the register. Jacobs opens, reading the liquor, food, and adult licenses.
Does everything appear in order?
Jacob closes them.
Jack and Coke.
You heard the man.
This is still Pepper.
Yeah, that's still you.
Enjoy yourself, detective.
The
Thought that
bartender.
was Jacob.
That's okay. Yeah. The bartender mixes the drink, hands it to him, smiling. Allie, Emmy lights up a new cigarette. Club. Lolita steps out from the back wearing a sultry dress. Sorry, I almost said slutty dress.
Slutty dress.
I mean, that too.
Same thing. Okay. She walks up to Jacobs, putting her hand on his back. He turns to her. They exchange smiles. Lolita takes him by the hand towards the couch. She dances to the music, pressing her body against him. Mid-sized SUV. A very pregnant mother exhales deeply as the dutiful father tries to reassure her as he races her down the street. Emmy closes her eyes, enjoying her cigarette. Club. Lolita sits on Jacob's lap as she gyrates against him.
You like your new boss?
Lolita smiles.
We are all our own bosses here.
Really?
I'm an independent contractor. If you've got something that needs fixing, I'm your gal.
Sorry. I can't help myself. Lolita leans forward, pressing her body against him, and whispers.
All you have to do is ask.
Emmy finishes her cigarette, heads to the door. Suddenly, a loud screech echoes down the alley, followed by a roaring crash and a blaring car horn. Emmy runs down the alley towards the noise. VIP room. Jacobs pushes Lolita against the wall, kissing her neck. Lolita pulls off his belt, going for his pants. The street. Emmy exits the alley, finding an SUV having rammed into the side of a taxicab. Glass and vehicle debris litter the street. She darts into the street, passing the taxi first. She finds the driver unconscious from the airbag deployment. She pulls the door open, checking on him. He grumbles. Emmy moves to the SUV, is in front, and the front end is completely smashed. The impact shock shattered the windows into spider webs. VIP room. Jacob picks Lolita up, wrapping her legs around his bare hips. The street. Emmy bangs on the shattered passenger side window. The mother and father are still unconscious. blah.
This is the sexiest car wreck I've ever
Look,
seen.
if it helps, Eddie, I'm still imagining it's part of the musical montage.
Yeah.
Bicycle Race
Yeah.
by Queen. Bicycle. Bicycle.
Fire breaks out in the engine. Smoke billows through the air ducts into the car cabin. Emmy bangs on the window.
Wake up! Wake up!
She looks around in the empty street.
Somebody help!
Turning back into the car, she grabs the window frame. She yells, pulling at it with all of her strength. VIP room. Leah cries out in orgasmic passion.
Want to ride my bicycle?
The street. Emmy pulls the window clear, throwing it to the ground. She reaches inside the door handle, pulling the door open. Emmy coughs as the car fills with smoke. She pulls on the seatbelt, jammed. Emmy stomps on the passenger window, breaking off a piece of glass. Grabbing it, she starts cutting into the seatbelt. Blood runs down her hand from the glass shard. VIP room. Lolita pushes Jacobs back onto the couch. Kneeling, she goes down on him. The street. Emmy pulls the pregnant woman from the car across the pavement. The woman opens her eyes, staring faintly at Emmy. Emmy smiles. Running back to the SUV, Emmy crawls inside from the passenger side. She shoves the door open, pushing the father out of the car to the ground. Getting out of the car, she grasps for air. An ambulance turns down the street towards them. Emmy looks back at the taxi as the driver stands outside of his car on his phone. VIP room. Lolita lights up a cigarette as Jacob buttons his shirt.
How much?
Lolita smiles.
Oh, sweetie, I can't charge you. That would be illegal.
Oh, God. And then the street. Several police cars have blocked off the area. Officers interview the father and the taxi driver. A paramedic wraps a bandage on Emmy's hand. As the other paramedics load the pregnant women into the ambulance, the paramedic takes a tetanus booster from the bag, shoots Emmy in the shoulder.
If you have any difficulty breathing or swelling in your hand, you go to the hospital.
Emmy nods. The paramedic returns to his co-workers. They get into the ambulance and drive off.
Oh my God, that was all to bicycle.
that was a big musical montage.
Oh man. Okay. So,
Feeling strong now. All right.
Interior strip club morning. The
Are we finishing? Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, let's do it.
It's 20 to 29.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Club is empty. House lights on. Quiet. Trash litters the floor. Lolita lays on the stage smoking. Emmy enters, all smiles. Walking up to Lolita, she leans against the stage.
You seem happy.
Something happened tonight. Something.
Emmy looks down at her hands, rubs the bandage over her palm.
I don't think I've ever felt this good. Have you ever saved someone's life before?
I've saved your life on more than one occasion, I might add.
Saving me from the danger you put me in doesn't count.
Well, I like to think it does.
How did your work emergency turn out?
Lolita sits up.
Oh, good. I don't think that cop will be bothering us again.
Please don't tell me you jettisoned him into space.
Lolita smirks.
Lolita!
Don't be so dramatic, silly. I fucked him twice.
Emmy turns away, disgusted.
You asked, sweetie, and it was awesome. Should have seen his dick.
Emmy puts her fingers in her ears.
I'm not listening.
It was huge. I mean, he's a big guy, too.
Emmy walks away.
La 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 la.
I swear, he must have been going through a dry spell or something.
Emmy walks into the back room as Lolita follows, continuing her story.
To be continued. Okay.
In space.
In space.
I
Well,
love that space scene
We
so much.
we
So-
added space.
Yeah, I'm still behind that. It's great.
Okay.
I think maybe we found a way.
It's
that,
actually apropos.
Everything I think is better in space. So
yeah.
maybe
sure.
it should be Lolita and Emmy in space.
In space.
Space.
That's an idea. But
On
all right, we had
Elon Musk's moon base. Anyway.
yeah, we had a very long, somewhat confusing music montage that made me feel like I really wanted to nail that car wreck and just smash that car, just smash into it. Oh, God. Teach that car who's boss. And,
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool. And the space was cool. And yeah, there we go. All right, Larry, what do you think?
Pacing was better. Space.
Space.
Car crashes. Stuff happened.
Music.
Yeah, music. There was
Music.
music, and then there was like a blowjob. So it was like,
There was
yeah,
a-
it's like,
yeah.
yeah.
Perp.
Yeah, I dug it. I dug the jokes. I like I like the music, the musical montage, as everyone else reiterated. I got that. I was getting that from how you were cutting back and forth. I had envisioned that in my head. So yeah, it was really good.
But what song did you envision?
Oh, you did a bicycle, and that made me think. Okay, I'm gonna think Flash by Queen. And it worked. It worked.
Great.
Yeah, it was.
Queen
it was,
is so good for that. Like
Yeah.
I totally wrote a scene in a different comic that's set to "Don't Stop Me Now," because of course. And it's just like that. I sort of imagined that song as I wrote out the panel descriptions.
Nice.
So, Queen is a never-ending font of joy and energy.
Yeah.
Constructives. Oh wait, no, skinny. Or did we go?
Skinny positives. Yeah, we need skinny
Yeah,
positives.
skinny positives.
I liked it. Overall, there was a lot of action, a lot of stuff actually happening this time around, and I enjoyed it. There's some really good dialogue, a lot of good back and forth.
Yeah.
I really liked the sex coupled with the car crash. I thought that was actually really neat. Danny said bicycle, so I was actually hearing bicycle by Pink Floyd in my head.
There you go.
surprisingly.
There we go.
But overall, there's a lot of good improvements here.
I really like that Emmy did something that was positive that Lolita wouldn't have done. That really sets them apart as separate characters. And although I totally thought of it massively inappropriate song to set this musical montage to, I still very much like that was the crux of the scene. Was like, I mean, man, you saved the fuck out of that cat too.
Yeah.
Right? So well done there. And you show them having a relationship, discussing both the work thing and the being good thing, and sort of contrasting that with the being evil thing. Like saving a pregnant woman from a car crash versus depositing a nosy asshole into space is can you get more two-sided than that? So yeah.
I mean, the biggest would be the Godfather montage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you've got the executions with the christening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
you
This
got
is a sex comic, so I mean, we'll take what we can get.
Yeah,
here,
that's
right?
true. Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
it was intended to be like that, where it was to be juxtaposing
Oh.
two different things at the same time.
Right. No, I got
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's just the christening and the executions, that leaves you going, wow. The sex scene and the car rescue leaves you going, I don't know.
Okay, so John,
All right,
his wordless distaste is actually a step up because
Yeah.
before he could explain what he didn't like,
Right.
and now so this is actually a massive
Yeah, no,
improvement in Preston.
Yeah.
Yo,
I don't
John,
know.
what song
All
were
right.
you imagining for this musical montage?
All right, montage. Let's talk about the montage.
Yeah, let's talk about the montage.
John has no song.
No, I really didn't have a song. It was just
Okay.
And that's a potential
that-
copyright issue, by the way, if you are using published song lyrics in a comic without permission.
I mean,
Not like you're worried with this kind of project, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know how you have.
I don't know how I'm going to translate that to a comic yet. But the way I wrote it, I was just trying to be more rhythmic in the way the scenes kind of paralleled each other.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
I think like the radio in the car could be playing the same song or something if you want to connect it or something.
well, when I write screenplays, I don't pick the songs because the producer's going to have to do that, and they're going to have to get the licensing. So I don't even bother to try to integrate it unless it's important. I did do a song lyric in my vampire comic when one of the characters was arrested by the vampire cop, and she's singing "Highway to Hell" in the back seat because it's supposed to be a joke because she's in the back seat of a car with a vampire cop probably going to hell. So, and she was drunk and high out of her mind, so she's like singing badly. So that was like the only time I've ever really done something where I'm actually using song lyrics. Typically, I'll just throw up music or something like that. But
Well, yeah.
All right. Montage seems pretty good then.
Slightly long. I feel like, how many pages do you intend for that to be?
I don't know, as long as the song is probably. So what, 3.5 to 4 minutes?
How many pages do you intend that to be?
In a screenplay, it's 1 minute to page. I don't
yes,
know.
Obviously.
I didn't count the
like,
pages.
As a comic, that's sort of, there's a lot of action there.
There is, honestly, I don't. When it comes, because I'm doing the art myself, I kind of make it up as I go along.
Okay, so we're not too worried about that in terms of art direction.
No, I'll figure it out as I go.
You can probably get away with 4 comic pages,
Maybe.
but that's the most I would do.
Right, because then it'll kind of drone on too much. Yeah,
well, and there's actually just no copy. Also, right? Like,
right, there's very, very little. Yeah.
So people are going to be going through it very quickly. 4 pages is the most you can do for that. So it might be necessary to sort of reduce it at that point. But you've got the heart of the scene there, easy.
Right.
I was really confused by like the digression of like Lolita dealing with Pepper, and then Pepper dealing with the cop, and then Lolita dealing with the cop. If Lolita is sort of in charge and Pepper's kind of in charge on her behalf, I know it's gangy and sort of confusing, sort of on purpose, but it still seemed like some unnecessary stuff. And weirdly, by the end of that entire sex club scene, I was just curious as to why you didn't set this in Las Vegas in the first place.
Are you advocating for Pepper to perform the sexual acts on the cop? Because that would be really funny.
I don't care. And that's between John and his readers.
Okay.
First we'd need to discover if Pepper was also an independent contractor.
I think she is.
Okay.
Well, I mean, he's
she's just an older one, so that we get into a whole nother genre. But anyway,
so this thing has felt like something that you set in LA, John, but like seeing the direction you're going now, I'm sort of confused as to why you're not adapting it to Las Vegas. So you've got more opportunities for all the vice and stuff like that that Lolita would be all about.
That's not a bad idea. As I said, it's in a nondescript city and a nondescript state. I never say where they are.
So I think the pages. I mean, there is interesting stuff going on.
I know what Preston's gonna say.
Okay, Emmy's out there saving people.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what the connection is between Lolita and Emmy, because they're functioning as completely independently here. But
Yeah.
and in terms of like the story stakes, I'm also not like. I mean, I'm seeing Emmy and Lolita in juxtaposition, so I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing that they're different, that they want different things. Emmy wants to save a woman, and Lolita wants to fuck a cop, and those are different.
I fucking called it. Yeah, I was like, I knew you were gonna say, "What are the stakes?" and what is the connection between the two characters? Because
okay, there we go.
There we go.
All right.
I should have put a bet on that.
In his mind, Larry was like, "All right, here we go." So, all right, there we go.
Because I had the same criticisms, but anyway, like I don't know. It just seems like there's not a lot of. The juxtaposition thing was really cool, but there's still not a lot of connection between the two characters on. I don't know.
Yeah,
they should do more stuff together. But
give me a couple more days here, and then my aura will be masked enough that we can go on that road trip you've always wanted to do, honey,
or something,
or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, we're still not dealing with a lot with the repercussions from issue 1 yet. So I still feel like she should have like a post-traumatic thing going on. But anyway.
I mean, this is like the Lolita fucks cops while Emmy has like
mental fucking breakdowns. Yeah, exactly.
If that's where you're going, I'm actually really behind that.
Yeah.
And as long as that starts like near the beginning of issue 3, it's not too slow of a burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Other constructors? All right, cool. Well, we went through all the scripts like there are today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we did.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in. Had a lot of fun. Exciting things happened. Tune in next time to watch more writers struggle with their pages. Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Struggle is